Imagine you're standing in Oxford, holding the hand of your mother. She holds the hand of her mother, your grandmother. Your grandmother holds the hand of your great-grandmother, and so on in a chain. The chain extends into Cornwall until it hits Land's End and can go no further. Somewhere around Cirencester, the handholders would be Homo erectus. By Taunton, they'd look like Lucy, Australopithecus. And standing on the rocks of Land's End would be the common ancestor we share with chimpanzees. Now, with her other hand, the matriarch of Land's End grips the hand of a different daughter. That daughter holds the hand of her daughter, and so on. A parallel chain now wends its way along the road back up to Oxford. The two chains of increasingly distant cousins face each other along the way. And by the time the chain of daughters reaches Oxford, we have modern chimpanzees face to face with modern humans. These modern cousins facing each other belong, of course, in completely different species. They cannot interbreed. Yet, every step of the way along the chain of ancestors, round the hairpin bend at Land's End and back to Oxford, every individual is the same species as her neighbor. There is gradual change, so gradual as to be far below the threshold of perception.
Another way of trying to wrap your head around the concept of evolution occurring over a massive timescale is by imagining a picture of yourself, taking each day throughout the entirety of your life, from the day you were born until this very morning where you woke up. If you line up all the photos taken of you and look at them, each one day by day in its correct order, you won't be able to detect any differences between you one day and the photo showing you the next day. You won't be able to make a clear distinction between when you went from being a baby to being a toddler, or when you went from being a teenager into becoming an adult. But it happened gradually, just like how biological evolution throughout thousands and millions of generations have happened. So if you look at your pictures and jump 1 year each time between looking at them, you'll be able to see a clear difference. And if you had a picture of each one of your ancestors all the way back to the very first organism, and you made big leaps between looking at the pictures thousands and even millions of generations at a time, you will be able to see a clear distinction between species, the species that we've originated from, our family tree.
Our brains, no doubt, are the most complex things we've ever encountered. It's no wonder that many people look on us as masterpieces of design that provide evidence for the existence of an intelligent designer. But if we actually look at how life came about through biological evolution, we find a number of features that are extremely unexpected given theism. The evolutionary process is massively wasteful and inefficient. When people create something, we try to devise the best design in advance and then build the thing according to that design. Natural selection, the main engine driving evolution, it creates by randomly trying a huge number of possible designs and then discarding all the errors. Well, this would be like an engineer who tried to build a bridge by randomly trying every possible configuration, letting it collapse until through dumb luck, one stays standing. Well, that's not design, that's crazy. Additionally, because evolution must operate by making gradual modifications to pre-existing structures, it leaves organisms with many traits that are functionally useless or even dysfunctional. Take human beings, for example. The openings for breathing and swallowing are so close together that we often choke. They didn't have to be that way. Our appendix, apparently useless but prone to infection, sometimes life-threatening. The birth canal is too small, increasing the chances of injury, even death during delivery. The list goes on. What's more, we know that almost every single species that has ever existed on Earth went extinct. Every museum of natural history is a junkyard of failed experiments. The wastefulness, inefficiency, and imperfection of biological evolution are more likely on the assumption that it is a blind, causal mechanism with no mind and limited powers than on the assumption that it is the instrument, somehow, of an all-powerful, rational intelligence. It would be surprising if such a being chose to create life in such a way.
You cannot hope to get at the truth about reality if the truth is contaminated by subjective bias. And subjective bias is precisely the name of the game when we look at today's influential stirrings of anti-scientific bias.
We start off with the belief and then we seek evidence to support it, motivated reasoning, confirmation bias, hindsight bias, and all that. And smart people believe weird things because they're really good at that. So the question is are all beliefs that are generated that way, is there a way to work around those cognitive biases? And the answer is yes, it's science. The scientific method developed over centuries for this very reason, starting with Francis Bacon saying, look, we have all these cognitive issues that cause us to distort the way we see, starting with the ore in the water that's bent, and you know it's not bent, but it sure looks bent, can't trust my vision all the time, and so on. And now we know from cognitive psychologists that, there's much we can't trust. That's why you have to have collaborators in your research. You got to have peer review. You got to have replication of studies. You got to have multiple lines of evidence coming at it, just to get our confidence up that it's not just me in my head deluding myself and I've gone down some sidetrack and I'm off the rails crazy. But I'm alone. This is why people write me with these theories of physics. Newton was wrong and Einstein was wrong, and I worked it all out in my garage this weekend, and I'll share the Nobel Prize with you if you help me with the math. You're talking to the wrong guy. I don't do the math. You go to the local high school physics teacher and talk to him. I mean, you got to get out there and see what other. So it's a social community. So science is very social, and that's what helps us get out of that problem of just generating beliefs willy-nilly and then finding evidence to support them.
These beliefs are claims about the way the world is. I mean, everyone is in the business of trying to understand the situation we're in, trying to get our behavior to move through this situation in a way that's compatible with happiness. And religion is a strategy for doing it. It just happens to be a strategy that is built to a remarkable degree upon lies and self-deception. So I argue it's the wrong tool for the job.
Then there's the accusation of arrogance, of claiming to know everything. But science is humble, has to be. We love what we don't know because it gives us something to do.
So I think Jerry is looking through the telescope at the natural world, but he's looking through it the wrong way. He's got the lens pointed this way. He thinks the universe is all about us, us, us. If you look through the telescope the wrong way, what are you going to see? It's like, the universe was created for us human beings. What Jerry has is not a theology. What Jerry has is a meology. It's about me. It's about us. We were created. The universe is so that our species can be special. When you truly humble yourself, when you're truly courageous enough to realize that we live alone in a universe that doesn't care, then you can decide we are the ones who must care. So those are the reasons why I have an absence of a belief in any kind of a God.
Believe if you want to. Have faith in Jesus Christ if you need to. But do not make yourself vulnerable to reason and evidence. Do not demand that your belief be reasonable. You will be threatened with the loss of your faith. You may well lose your faith. Those who have lost their faith in God are generally those who have felt the need for good reasons, for evidence, for argument. Better that you should take as your slogan, credo qui absurdum. I believe because it is absurd.